All right, hello everyone. Welcome back. We're at a bonfire.
We're hearing a clanking noise, but since we're hearing this lovely clanking noise, we might as well spend extra time hearing it. Can you go to your inventory real quick?
I can.
I just wanted to take a quick look at your weapon because you were discussing last time how weapons affect, how weapons and stats interact. And so I wanted to check out that and then compare your...
It's a bell again.
The bells. Great poem under that name. All right, so here we've got your halberd and your winged spear. I think actually comparing these two would be great. So go down one as well? Okay.
I see. Because I played Bloodborne, I can now interpret this arcane data they've put in front of me.
Okay.
And a lot of you probably already knew this and you're just putting up with me being slow, but for the rest of you...
So tell me what these things mean. There's some stuff that I'm actually not sure about, but I'm going to take a quick conjecture at after you talk about them because my conversion rules are probably completely wrong, but I'm interested. I should even look this up. But yeah, tell me what you think these mean.
All right, so we've got here just basically the physical attack power. That makes sense. I don't know what the plus 23 means as opposed to the 110. Oh, thrust. Thrust, I guess, is the difference. Maybe? Or was thrust the type of attack? I don't know.
Wait, over it'll tell you.
Amount of damage inflicted
is regular and thrust. I like that. Amount of damage inflicted, regular and thrust.
This menu. But, okay. Nothing to any of these. Critical's 100. Okay, so param bonus. The D and the okay. The D and D here for the halberd are, I believe, the far left there with the flexing arm is meant to be strength, the hand is meant to stand for dexterity, and it is rated D in both of these, so it's a balance of both stats. The winged spear is down to an E in strength, but up to a C in dexterity, which leads me to believe that this is a dexterity-focused weapon, which... This is so obvious to everybody who plays Dark Souls. Sorry for that. Sorry for this.
But the thing that's really interesting that we just learned is, right, this has an E in strength and a C in dexterity. What happened when you raised strength by 1?
When I raised strength by 1, it did not increase much for this spear at all.
Do you remember how much exactly it increased?
By 1, I think.
Right, and how much did it increase when you increased dex by 1?
By like 3, I think.
Right, and so what would that lead you to believe if you just had to make a first level conjecture?
Is that actually possibly 1-to-1 on this?
I think it is.
Interesting.
That's what I'm getting from, I mean, that's my guess, and it's probable that they have a much more complex equation.
Sure, but
as a rough, player estimate...
That's helpful.
I think it might actually be 1-to-1. And then go back up to this for just 1 second.
For which thing?
Yeah, the wing spear is fine.
Okay.
I'm just looking at one other thing, which enters no, I can't quite make sense out of yet. But the interesting thing here is, so what bonus would you get if you had a weapon that had 1 higher, that was D strength instead of E strength?
I would assume 2 points.
So, I mean, in this case, let's say this weapon had D strength. How much additional bonus would you get?
I mean, 1 more than E, right? Or maybe I'm not keeping up with where you're going.
So think about it as your character as he stands right now.
Okay.
If this weapon just had if this weapon had D strength parameter bonus instead of E, how many bonus attack would you get? I feel like this is like kindergarten math class where I'm giving you a language problem. I feel like
you're asking an animator. It's worse than you think.
No. I don't mean that as rigging. I mean, I just phrased that in a way that sounds exactly like the silly take-home math questions that my nieces and nephews get.
No, I'm saying that's what you need to do with me.
No. I felt like, oh my god. Anyway, all I was saying was
make toys dance.
Which is awesome. Plus, I know you end up using a lot of math in doing so. But all I was saying was, if this weapon... The interesting thing is when we think about how much effect a parameter bonus has, as a designer, I'm balancing these weapons, right? Okay, what parameter bonuses am I going to give it? Well, the amount of physical attack, like the first 5 numbers in this series, physical, magic, fire, lightning, critical, those are all static numbers. Parameter bonuses are very different for me as a designer because those are actually not numbers that I specify if we're right about the 1-to-1 correlation. So when the parameter bonus happens, like in this case, +1 parameter for you on strength is actually an additional 16 attack for this, right? If this was D, because you have 16 strength.
I see.
And late in the game, for some weapons, depending on build, that may be a huge number, that may be a small number. But +1 parameter is generally going to be fairly large if it's in your main stat. And so when thinking about balancing these, it's a totally different approach to thinking about balancing dynamic variables like this and player-based variables like this versus static things like raw attack damage.
Okay.
How
are you guys loving this anvil?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad this is where we chose to sit and have this conversation.
Let's go politely ask whoever's making the anvil noise to keep it down. Amazing chest ahead. I'll be the judge of that.
Let me see. Oh, I don't see it.
No, I'm seeing it.
Wow. Wow. ...
Yeah.
All right.
Let
us talk to that amazing chest.
I'd worked on this animation for another couple hours.
I might have thrown it out and start over. Like, so what's interesting to me is the way his arms have seams. Like, look at the way his arms and his chest fit together. Like, as he moves,
the weighting is a little bit. Yeah. A little bit pinchy on the shoulders, which, I mean, fair enough. He's got a big, bulky body. I'm just mostly talking about the timing. Like, it's a very poppy and boink, boink, boink. If you take the sound away, it looks very... Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm nitpicking. We should talk to this guy.
Yes.
Well, you must be a new arrival. I'm Andre of Astora. If you require smithing, then speak to me.
Cool.
That appears to be what we're doing right now. All right, now we got stuff.
Look at all these options. Modify equipment, reinforced weapon, reinforced armor, repair equipment.
The all-important learn gesture.
Oh yeah, jeez.
Hoorah!
Indeed. That was worth meeting you by itself. Cool. All right, let's figure out what else we can do.
You probably should talk to him until he's out of stuff. Not that he's probably going to do anything, but...
Most weapons and armor are mighty sturdy indeed. But every hunk of metal has its breaking point. If you notice durability running low, it's time to repair. You can ask a blacksmith like myself, or do it on your own with a grindstone.
Not lip sync, but his mouth's moving.
So what's interesting about this is this was originally released. I forget if there was even a Korean track to it, because I remember I imported this from Korea when there was already English language track on it.
Right. Did you do that with Dark Souls or with Demon Souls?
Oh no, right, that was Demon Souls.
Oh, right, because I remember you mentioning.
It's really been that long. Oh my god.
Because I remember some people saying in the comments, which I've been able to read now that we've actually released some of these episodes, that this might have been English language only.
Yeah, this might have actually been totally English language.
Which
only.
I mean, it's still lip sync is like lip sync is. I don't think I've ever seen a game that actually had great lip sync ever, because lip sync is some of the most tedious. Animation is slow anyway, but lip sync is incredibly tedious, and because we know how faces move, it takes a long time to make it look really, really right and good.
And even in the ones where they're motion capturing people's lips,
even
it just doesn't really work. Like, even there's so much tweaking you have to do.
Especially if it's rendered, like unless it's a pre-rendered like video, then the amount of bone control you need in the face for the amount of muscles required and just the level of fidelity, it's not even close.
But what's really interesting is very often when you see when you see dialogue sequences with characters, like in a Mass Effect or whatever, and you won't see half their body.
Yep.
I often see those as, when I've worked with companies, it's a different rig, so they can actually put more bones in the lips and face
100%
for those things.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's why you get close-up shots when you're having dialogue in something like Mass Effect or The Witcher or whatever.
It's smart, because it's the only way they can do it.
Well, it's all the tricks, right?
Yep, it's all the tricks. If nothing else from this, learn that the best game developers are the ones that figure out all the tricks.
Yeah.
That's how they make the game look as good as it does.
We don't have to get more processing power. We can just cut off half the model and use those bones elsewhere.
Yep.
All right, so let's take a look at...
What menu? Oh, I'm in forge weapons.
Right.
What, reinforce.
You apparently don't have a lot of souls on you? Oh yeah, because you just spent them all.
I did. Okay. Well, oops.
So let's see how much it takes to reinforce your whatever you're using now.
So what does reinforce mean in the context of this? Is a +1. So I'm literally just making it a better version of the current weapon.
Yes, and so look at the difference in stats between the two.
Oh, yes, that's an increase.
Yeah, you're getting about... so you're getting +8... So you're roughly getting a 10% increase.
If I'm building towards strength, is it a mistake to invest heavily? Like, how often do you get investment, like these Titanite shards I'm seeing up here?
This is the question.
Indeed.
What's really interesting is, remember in Bloodborne how at first bloodstone chunks or whatever seemed super rare, and then all of a sudden you had too many and you didn't.
Yes.
It's sort of the same here, where you should focus on the weapon you're using right now, but it won't preclude you if you find a better weapon later, right? But you shouldn't just do it on something random, because you won't get enough to make use of those early on otherwise.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
I'm following you. You can do the same with armor. Ooh, that's cool. I'm glad, but like, there's a lot of armor to be found and possibly leveled up. Is it? I mean, like most RPGs, the armor and weapons you find toward the end are all the best ones.
Well, and it's true. And what is the perennial RPG problem in terms of armor and weapons and leveling stuff?
By the time you get all the best stuff, there's nothing left to use it on.
So that's also true. But I meant, how can I put this? Because I'm asking you these questions mostly so I don't immediately say it to the audience, so everybody gets a moment or two to think about it, because I always find that it's much more interesting to think about problems and have someone like tell you about problems.
Oh, sure.
But where do you think you're going to spend your first Titanite?
Yourself killed.
Yes, sir.
Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
I don't know how to tell you this, man.
Yeah. You want a little hollow. Plus, he wasn't looking too close. He doesn't want to see it.
Maybe they're just all being really nice. Like maybe that's how maybe it's rude to mention it.
By the way, did you notice the way, so go back and talk to him for a sec. Watch the way he pops out of the talk animation.
Okay.
So you talk to him, right? And he goes into this, no matter where he is in his swing arc.
Yep. Oh, and then goes right back to it.
Right.
Wow.
And so they didn't have any transition animations there, which is weird because, I mean, it's not super weird, but they knew where he was starting and where he was stopping.
Yep.
Which is different than dynamic animations for the player, where sometimes you may not know what they're going between, or you may not want to make it for everything.
Reinforcement is simple. It strengthens the weapon and nothing more.
And then he
A
immediately...
simple task for any blacksmith. Hell, you could even do it yourself with a smith box.
Ooh, nice.
But Ascension's a finer art. It alters a weapon's properties. Ascension is the territory of we blacksmiths. A smith box just won't do the trick. Start out with reinforcement. When that loses its charm, you can consider Ascension.
That's really helpful, actually.
As you've noticed, this land is flush with the mad and wicked.
Have.
You won't make it through the night without employing my services.
You make a good pitch.
And of course, because it's a Dark Souls game, he has to laugh at the end of it.
Of course he does. But yeah, you're right. It is just a linear blend to and like hammering animation, loop,
Right, and
talking animation, loop.
try getting him like near the top of the swing. He pops right to that.
All right, let's see here.
See if we can time this right. Here we go.
You forge it whether you... But nope, so whatever you do.
Oh well, he starts at the very bottom at full contact there.
Right.
Either way,
With this thing.
Yeah, it's but yeah, it's. I mean,
And
just speaking as an animator, who's working on? Oh,
Seeing you then. Be careful out there.
you got it. Just speaking as an animator, who's working on a lot of transition animations right now, like. This is, again, just a very efficient way to make something. You just have a looping animation here, a looping talking animation, and don't worry about making a whole lot of transitional animations just from one to the other, because that's 2 more animations to and from that you need to make, which is time consuming. That takes days and hours. Just make new animations instead.
You know what surprised me though? I feel like they could have made this much smoother. I would have never noticed it. If talk to him for a real quick one for a second.
Okay.
And then go out of the talking. And can you turn the camera a little bit? Oh, there we go. He did it. Do it one more time.
Okay.
What do you notice as soon as he comes out of the talking animation?
Forging whether you forge, but nope, so what?
See the particle effect?
Yep.
If
Goes
they had
right to
dropped
it.
the particle effect, if they had not triggered the particle effect there, I would have never noticed. They totally could have gotten away with that. But see how his hammer's just sitting on the thing and then particle effect explodes?
Yep.
And so it's not they would have had to make anything more, right? They would have had to put in one line of code saying not particle here, right?
Right. You guys are super patient with us, by the way. Like, and This is the thing is this is not unusual for game developers playing a game. Like every time some guy brings a new game into work and a lot of the devs who are working there all kind of stand around to watch, this is what they do. They don't actually play the game. They just sit there looking at how the other guys made the game and trying to figure out how did they do that, or oh, why did they do it that way.
Seriously, I've had somebody bring in something that was relevant to a project we were working, and everybody gathers around, and we seriously spend 4 hours of the day in the first 20 minutes of the game.
Gee, what on earth?
What's something I was going to say? I totally forgot it.
God, I forgot whatever we were...
Because there's a lightning demon.
That's more than I want to deal with right now.
Well, there was that other way to go up
There
the stairs.
was, and let's go that way.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So back to the question I was asking you. What do you think the first thing you're going to spend your Titanate on is? Just for you, what do you feel like? Oh,
I would
turn around for a sec. Is there also stairs up?
Oh, there are. Wait, these are the stairs I came up or came from, and then there's also.
Oh my, so many ways and places.
There are a lot of ways. Where do I even go?
Oh my god, being overwhelmed by choice,
I am.
which is actually a player problem. Sometimes you do have to allow the player a little bit of more focus, because otherwise they get sort of overwhelmed by the number of options you present and the fact that they won't remember which ones they have and haven't done.
Well, I mean, this may just end up being a dead end, so that might...
Right, that's what they're doing here, I believe.
Wait.
You're just an Onion Knight. It's just a FF call out.
He is actually an Onion Knight. You weren't... Oh. I like this guy.
Okay, so he's suspicious because it's a Dark Souls game and he didn't end with maniacal laughing.
Oh, forgive me. I was absorbed in thought. I am Siegmeyer of Katarina. Quite honestly, I've run flat up against a wall, or a gate, I should say. The thing just won't budge, no matter how long I wait. And oh, have I waited. So here I sit, in quite a pickle, weighing my options, so to speak.
So look at the way his chest armor's curved. I found that very interesting.
That is pretty humorous, actually. Like that, his armor
Yes.
bends like fat rolls. It's not a flattering armor.
No.
It is kind of adorable, though. I kind of like this guy.
I do like this character.
Yeah. Like he seems like... I don't know, he seems like a pleasant person in the Game of Thrones universe. Like, he should be dead already.
Let's see if he has any more lines of dialogue.
Let's do that. I need to develop that habit.
Too closed.
Oh.
Too closed.
I love this guy. Okay. Well, he's right. So, but that's good. That's one less option I
Can
can...
you look to the left real quick?
Careful, me.
I thought so. To the right. Now. Keep writing. Oh, is that just a brick?
It looks like a brick.
Oh, I thought it was a chest. Oh, wait, can you walk through it?
With no collision. Oh,
Oh,
wait.
found the collision.
Found it.
Do you think it has a point collision rather than a...
I don't know. It's like...
rather than a box?
It's like as soon as the...
I think they managed to just put a point in the middle of it rather than actually put the collision box. I think they forgot about the collision box.
Catching like on one... Okay, so we can't spend an entire episode doing this.
Oh, we could.
Oh, guys, we could spend hours doing this. We won't, though. We're going to actually try to progress.
Right? Sorry. Whoop. Tree. See, look at... I think we've answered a question, right? Tree is a series of billboards.
It is.
It's 4 billboards.
4 billboards. There it is.
Yep, and you can even see it vanish when we come parallel to it.
We're through the N64 looking glass, people.
Yeah. Welcome to Dark Souls.
Yeah. But you're running by it and you don't notice.
Right.
Like I know the popular thing when like kind of looking at the tech on these things is like getting really close to like walls to look at texture resolution and looking at various other like those sorts of things, like looking close at the fine details that you don't notice while playing. And that's totally legit to try to see like what the what sort of tech the game is running on, like whether the game will actually account for you being that close to a wall or something. But for the most part, in a lot of these games, you're going to be running right by it, doing what I was doing.
Well, and
it looks and feels in the moment really nice.
And there's a lot of times where people can make much cooler scenes, which is the important thing, right? This is a much cooler scene than if they had tried to render all those trees and decided they couldn't put any trees here, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Like it's putting getting the most bang for your buck. They could have made these all lovingly rendered, beautiful trees that weren't just 2D planes. Like, look at that. Like, when you actually look at it.
But if they had done that, you literally would never have this bridge in this castle.
Yeah, like, we'd be 4 frames per second walking up to this castle, and this looks really big and epic and like a really cool, nice, well-composed scene.
Or more likely, we would just have nothing over the sides, right?
Very true.
We would just have empty sides.
Fog, and I would go this far, and oh, look, there's a castle there as soon as I got closer.
And so...
We're doing it again. I'm sorry.
No. But, I mean, game development is always about bang for your buck, and while lots of people are really nitpicky about the specifics of graphics, and I totally agree with Dan that it is important, it's not actually the way we play games, and sometimes people forget that by super high rendering a lot of things, sometimes takes away from developers the ability to actually make cooler scenes and more interesting moments, which are the truly important thing for how it feels to play the game, which in the end is all that matters.
Very true. Though, I will say, for the few developers and teams that manage to do the best of both worlds and have a gorgeously, incredibly high fidelity rendered view that looks great in both the macro and micro sense, hats off to them, because that is staggeringly hard to do. Even in those cases, they've thought of a lot of tricks to get to that point. A lot of tricks. They're just tricks you can't find or notice.
Right. And tricks that are not tricking you by lower rendering stuff and not assuming you notice, but rather how much stuff can we remove from the scene? How many ways can we save cycles, right?
Yep. Game devs are tricky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, games fundamentally at their root are smoke and mirrors, right?
That's true.
And the better you can fake it, the better you are as a dev.
Yep. Words to live by. Let's go in here.
All right. Yeah, you don't got many souls. Let's go in here.
Yeah, hey. I got nothing to lose. Come at me.
Oh, okay. Done.
What else was I expecting to happen? Really? Okay, now let's step back and actually look at what we've done to ourselves. That's not where I was to roll at all.
That was an interesting...
It sure was.
That worked. So let's see his path, right? Okay, so he can continue to path.
He sure can.
That's there.
Can I block?
You can certainly stab him from there.
That's not a lot of damage, is it?
That is not. I wonder if he's going to head back. Nope, you're going to trigger his thing. Oh, God.
I wasn't expecting 2 in a row.
So it's amazing how they get away with actually having it be a
I can't block
totally different feel of attack simply by having 2 quick stabs. Ooh.
Oh, no.
Like, in the Dark Souls world, 2 stabs is different than 1 stab, right? That is...
Oh, no.
Oh, there we go, right? There's the cross attack.
That's what I get. I learned.
It's so funny. I'm so used to Bloodborne. Ooh. I'm used to you... I'm expecting you to get back health for stabbing him.
Oh, yeah, man. And I'm expecting to be able to dodge twice in rapid succession.
Yes.
Or once in rapid anything.
Not in that armor.
Nope.
That looked painful.
I deserve that. You're right.
Oh, God.
This is not going as well as I'd like. Okay.
There's no fire nearby.
I sure wish there was fire or something I could jump down from.
You got him about halfway down.
Whoop.
Oh, God.
That didn't work as well as I hoped.
No. You got a lot of heals, so he's pretty slow. You might even be able to get a heal off if you run far enough away from him.
That's true.
When you need it.
You guys enjoying this?
Probably bad advice on my part.
Poke, poke.
Oh, here we go. Spear's
Poke,
so good.
Aw, you blocked me.
Like, this would be... Oh, my God, no!
Don't you
good.
dare!
Yeah, you show him.
Look at that.
Estus flasks are for players.
And a Titanite shard, thank you. Cool.
So, we can now get back to the question I've been asking. What do you think you're going to use your first Titanite shards on?
Oh. Yeah, I don't know, because I am kind of digging this spear, but I know long-term strength is where it's at for me.
All right, I'm glad you know this long-term.
At least I think it is.
I'm glad you're like, I really like this dex weapon, but you know, it's going to be strength. This is good reasoning, I like it. So...
You're ominous.
Yep. And look at that framing. Oh,
yeah,
my God, it's so good.
That is a... Even with me in control of the camera, like, because you have to look up to see him.
Yep.
Just by default, that looks super epic.
Well, and just the way they've layered the arches. right?
Yeah.
Like you can't not look at those arches as that sort of descending cone.
It directs the like everything directs the eye right up to that point. That's
So good.
gorgeous. I'm gonna go this way.
All right. So back to the question at hand. Where do you think you first use your Titanite shards?
I'm not given the right. Oh, don't know what that is.
Well, apparently the soul of a firekeeper, obviously.
I guess it's all right. We got another statue with a mother
And 2 hummingbirds.
and 2 hummingbirds.
I feel like the hummingbirds are the important part.
Yeah,
Clearly.
cool.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what? Before I tempt fate, we're going to stop here and wait to the next episode. So next time,
when Dan will actually answer the question of where he plans to spend his first Titanite shard.
maybe we'll see.